Hello, my name is Aiden Jones, and this is my homemade Wired Creative Critical Reflection interview. This interview is done for my final film called Spike of Luck, which can be viewed on my blog or on YouTube. Now, let's get into the interview. The first question that we have is how does let's rip this off, your product use or challenge conventions? My film is a part of the sports genre and depicts the trials of our main character, MJ. In this short film, we decided to use conventions of our genre and provide the main character with the task of making the team, as any other sports film would do. Our goal for this was to play into the idea that MJ has a lot of natural talent, and that with hard work, he may be able to make the team. We gave him the obstacle of missing tryouts, something that is very commonly seen in sports films. It presented him with the challenge and allowed us to have a cliffhanger for the final few seconds of our film. Our goal with this was to incorporate both elements of sports and drama, as most films in the sports genre have an appropriate mixture of both. All right, got that question out the way. Now let's get on to the second one. How does it represent? There we go. Social groups or issues. This can be answered in many different forms in terms of representation. First, we can say that this film deals with young student athletes trying to deal with the mixture that happens in their lives. Although it is not specifically stated that MJ is in school, we can assume from the natural appearance of our main actor that he is somewhere between a senior year of high school and his beginning years of college. By using this angle, we try and depict the effect that sports has on young people and how it can determine their future and their passion for life. We can also say that our film shows young black men in a sport separate from football or basketball. This is more tailored to show how the young black athlete can be and removes them from the stereotypical sports that they usually play, allowing them to play similar sports like Tiger Woods in golf or other black athletes like Serena Williams in tennis. Our goal was to provide a different point of view for the young black athlete. The next question that we're going to be talking about is number 2. How does your product engage with audiences? I went ahead and ripped the tape off already. In recent years, many film companies have decided to expand from the common forms of sports and show the inside perspective of less socially known sports. Some examples of this include King Richard, which took the story of Venus and Serena Williams and showed it through the perspective of their father and how he helped guide them on their journey to becoming the tennis stars that they are today. Another example of this could be the movie I, Tonya, which looked at how, I believe, it looked at the story Tonya and how her journey through her becoming a gold medalist affected her life and how it continued after that. What we planned to do was to follow that same structure and make our film about volleyball, showing a different perspective about volleyball that isn't really seen in film or in other forms of media. Volleyball is not a very popular sport. It's not known throughout other people. It may be a popular sport, but it is not as popular as one would say football or basketball or soccer. So by doing this, we thought that showing a new perspective of how volleyball is portrayed would help engage with an audience and allow for more to be gained through the audience. And it's a more enticing film. If you don't know anything about volleyball and you're seeing a volleyball film, you're going to be like, let's go see this. Something that we thought would engage our audience. The next question, and now we're going to rip this off. Hopefully it doesn't break. The question is, how would our product be distributed as a real media text? Since our film isn't very long and it can't be distributed through normal means, we decided that it might be easier to begin with two steps. To first have it be distributed and advertised through forms of social media such as Instagram and YouTube, and gain possible viewers through that aspect, and then after to display it or to upload it to apps or platforms such as YouTube, with YouTube serving as a great a medium for shorter films or smaller projects. It allows for a lot of smaller films and smaller projects to receive recognition that they wouldn't originally on their own in, say, like 5 years prior. YouTube allows for these smaller media projects to be shown in a wider perspective, and it could take a 5-minute video and have it be produced with 5 million views. YouTube has the capability to do that, and that was something that we looked forward to doing as we distribute it as a real media text. Here is the question below. Now I finally got the tape off, and that's how we figured would be the best way to distribute it as a real media text. The next question that we have is, let me take this off properly. Okay. How did your production skills improve/develop throughout the project? Throughout the entire year, I have seen a gradual increase in my ability to not only record, but to direct and guide the film along. At the beginning of this project, I was still a bit uncomfortable with some of the different types of angles and shots, but by the end, I was able to fluidly combine all of those things together to create the skills that I have now. Not only was I able to expand on my skills, but it's also much easier to come up with different ideas when it was required to improvise. Throughout the filming process, we received horrible rain, which not only delayed the filming process, but also required us to scrap the first idea that we originally had. After some quick on-the-spot thinking and a couple hours of deliberation, my groupmates and I were able to come up with an entirely different ending and shoot it off from the leisure of our home. It was not easy, but it felt as though this time I was more comfortable as a filmmaker, which really allowed for not only my directive ability to grow, but also my confidence behind the camera. It would have been nice to have our original plot, but due to the rain and all the circumstances that surrounded it, we were not able to create the goal that we had in mind. But regardless of that, I feel as though my production skills throughout this year have expanded exponentially. And if I were to continue taking this class and to take A-level media, I am excited about what my future could hold and what I could possibly create in the 5-minute film that I would have to have taken. But that's a little too far, and I'm not that much of a pro yet. But I do believe that if you compare me from the beginning of the year to my commercial to now, I've shown a substantial growth, and I am happy with where I am right now in terms of production ability and general knowledge of how to use shots and how to implement an idea through shots, angles, movements, and etc. The final question that we have from my Wired interview is number 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? This project, compared to the last projects that we had done previously, required the most amount of technology that we needed to have done. Not only did we use more extensive software, but we also had to use different forms of hardware to get the shots that we needed to create. I remember that for the software, we use an editing app that I believe is called Leap Edits, something similar to that, or around that area. With Leap Edits, it's a great app that allowed us to do a lot more. But the problem was, for us to do more, we had to use a subscription or to buy a subscription. So for this time, we did the free trial, of course. It was only for one project, but we had to use the free trial to be able to add layering to the video, to be able to do a video of this size, I believe, because none of us have an iMac or iMovie, so we weren't able to use stuff that was already previously given to us from the devices that we already had. With the Leap Edit app, we were able to layer in the sound and non-diegetic music at the same time. For example, when our continuous previously from the last video, there was a little bit of an error. With the non-diegetic and the diegetic sound of the film that we produced, the ball was hitting the players' hands and they were receiving it back and forth. As we were using this, the editing, we had used this or created the ability for you to hear the ball hit their arms as well as hear the non-diegetic sound throughout the scenes that we required it. By doing this, the software of the app allowed us to perform this on something that we wouldn't have been able to do on our own. So we advanced our software in that aspect. Not only did we advance the software, but we also advanced the hardware of the film as well. This time, instead of just holding it with our hands, we were able to come across multiple selfie sticks and braces and hold and for the phone, where we were able to hold it at a different angle, something like this, from down, hold it similar to like this, all that type of way, so that we were able to record in a different way. I remember as I was using this hardware, we had to do it, our original plan allowed for us to get the scenery of Fort Lauderdale and us driving around and using the brace to capture the scenic views around us. Our goal with that, and we executed it kind of well, as I was driving, I had someone in the passenger side with me, and they were holding the brace and looking at this the scenery as we were driving by and holding it something like this, moving it around, panning it, etc. As we were doing that, we were able to have a clear and concise, we were able to move it clearer. We were able to use that software to help us get shots that would have been hard to just do it with our hands. We were also multitasking and performing easier. It just made the filming process easier for us to record and to implement. The final technology that we use to upgrade, that I would say would be our usage of our phones. People in our group had different kinds of phones, mine being the least upgraded, essentially, but still an iPhone 11 is still a great phone. Some members in our group had the newest iPhone that had just dropped, and it allowed us to get clear and concise shots without even the use of hardware, a better software, or different types of effects or any of that. With the newer phones, it really helped bring a higher definition that we wouldn't have been able to do on our own. I believe that I've covered everything for my creative critical reflection. I'm proud of the project that I had created, and I think that this may have been what I have created, and my group mates as well have created best. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy my